Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage nestled at the edge of a dense, magical forest, there lived a curious and lively little mouse. This mouse, unlike any other, had a sense of adventure that often led him to explore far beyond the safety of his tiny burrow. He loved the thrill of discovery and the excitement of new experiences. One bright and sunny day, the mouse woke up with a rumbling tummy. He decided that today would be the perfect day to venture out in search of something delicious to eat. He scampered out of his burrow, through the tall blades of grass, and into the wide world beyond. As he explored, the mouse's nose twitched with the scent of something sweet. He followed the delicious smell until he found himself in a small clearing where a young boy sat on a wooden bench. The boy was sitting under the shade of a large oak tree, enjoying the warm afternoon sun. In his hand, he held a basket filled with freshly baked cookies, their chocolate chips melting and glistening in the light. The mouse's eyes widened in delight at the sight of the cookies. He had never seen anything so mouth-watering in his life. Gathering up his courage, the mouse slowly approached the boy, his little heart beating fast. The boy noticed the tiny creature and smiled kindly. "Hello there, little mouse," he said. "Would you like a cookie?" The mouse nodded eagerly, his eyes sparkling with excitement. The boy reached into his basket and handed the mouse a cookie, which was nearly as big as the mouse himself. The mouse grabbed it with both paws and took a big bite. The cookie was even more delicious than he had imagined. The rich chocolate melted on his tongue, and the buttery flavor made his taste buds dance with joy. As the mouse savored the treat, he suddenly realized that all that sweetness had made him quite thirsty. He looked up at the boy with his big, round eyes and squeaked, "Could I have a glass of milk, please?" The boy, still smiling, nodded and poured a small glass of milk, just the right size for a mouse. The mouse took the glass and carefully sipped the cool, refreshing milk. It was the perfect complement to the cookie, and the mouse felt a wave of contentment wash over him. But as he finished the milk, he noticed that his whiskers were covered in crumbs and milk drops. The mouse, who prided himself on being neat, looked up at the boy once more and said, "Could I have a napkin to wipe my whiskers?" The boy chuckled and handed the mouse a tiny napkin. The mouse wiped his whiskers meticulously, making sure not a crumb or drop of milk was left. But as he finished, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the shiny surface of the milk glass and noticed that his fur was a bit messy from all the excitement. The mouse, always wanting to look his best, asked, "Do you have a little comb? I need to tidy up my fur." The boy searched through his pockets and found a small comb. He handed it to the mouse, who began to carefully brush his fur, smoothing down every strand until it was just right. But as the mouse combed, he noticed that his paws were still a bit sticky from the cookie. "May I have some water to wash my paws?" the mouse asked politely. The boy, now fully amused by the mouse's requests, filled a small bowl with water. The mouse dipped his paws in and washed them thoroughly, scrubbing away the last traces of stickiness. Once his paws were clean, he dried them on the napkin and sighed with satisfaction. But as the mouse sat there, feeling clean and tidy, he began to think about that delicious cookie he had just eaten. It was so good that the mouse couldn't help but want another one. He looked up at the boy with a hopeful expression and asked, "Could I have another cookie, please?" The boy, who by now had grown quite fond of the mouse, happily handed him another cookie. The mouse took it with both paws and gazed at it lovingly. But just as he was about to take a bite, he remembered how thirsty the first cookie had made him. He turned to the boy and said, "I think I might need another glass of milk to go with this cookie." The boy chuckled and poured another glass of milk. The mouse took a sip and then nibbled on his cookie, feeling as though he was the happiest mouse in the world. But as he enjoyed his treat, he began to realize that he might have started a bit of a cycle. The mouse thought about how each thing led to another. The cookie made him thirsty, the milk made his whiskers messy, the napkin led to the comb, and the comb to the water for his paws. And now, here he was, back at the cookie again. The mouse paused for a moment and pondered this strange chain of events. He looked up at the boy and said, "You know, I think if I keep eating cookies, I might keep needing more milk and then more napkins and so on. It seems like this could go on forever." The boy laughed heartily at the mouse's realization. "You're probably right," he said. "But you know what? I don't mind. It's fun having you around." The mouse grinned, his tiny teeth showing. "It's fun for me too. But maybe I should be careful not to ask for too much. After all, I wouldn't want to wear you out." The boy shook his head and smiled. "Don't worry about that, little mouse. Friends are always happy to help each other out." The mouse's heart warmed at the boy's words. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "You're a good friend." As the afternoon sun began to dip in the sky, casting a golden glow over the clearing, the mouse started to feel sleepy. All the excitement and delicious food had made him drowsy. He yawned, his tiny mouth stretching wide, and snuggled up against the boy's leg. The boy noticed the mouse's sleepy state and said, "It looks like it's time for a nap. Would you like a little blanket?" The mouse nodded, his eyes already half closed. The boy gently wrapped the mouse in a soft, warm blanket and placed him in a cozy spot on the bench. The mouse curled up into a little ball, his heart full of contentment. "Thank you for everything," the mouse whispered as he drifted off to sleep. The boy watched over the mouse, making sure he was comfortable and safe. As the mouse slept, he dreamed of more adventures with his new friend, knowing that no matter what he needed, the boy would always be there to help. And from that day on, the boy and the mouse became the best of friends. They shared many more cookies, drank plenty of milk, and enjoyed countless adventures together. The mouse learned that asking for help was okay, and the boy discovered that sometimes the simplest of things, like sharing a cookie, could lead to the most wonderful friendships. And so, in the cozy little cottage at the edge of the magical forest, the boy and the mouse lived happily ever after, surrounded by love, laughter, and of course, plenty of cookies. The end.